Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV, bringing to you nightclubs, tips, news, tutorials, and of course the disagreements. I'm actually on my way out, but before that I want to get and give a quick video blog on how technology is actually changing the DJ game, right? Because we talk about how technology is, helping, and it's making things easier so that people can be can multitask, be able to provide a better DJ show, right? That's all good, but let's go ahead and quickly sort of dive into how it affects long term, right? I'll give you a quick story. Went to the Guitar Center, right, around my area, and it's been about 8 to 10 years since I've actually been inside of a physical music store, right? And when I went inside, it was all controllers, Pioneer, Serato, type of modules, and you had a couple CDJs like the 900s, the 1000s. They were missing buttons, so obviously they were display models. But just to see that how the culture is shifting towards the controllers and the uses of computers, right? Which is not a bad thing, right? But there's been a lot of talk about sync and how a lot of people are getting back into vinyl, and how there's a difference between when people sync versus vinyl, right? Another quick story. Someone lent me a controller, right? So I wanted to see how I can sort of implement that into my gig, because I was actually looking for a third CDJ. But I said, let me see if I can use this controller, right? That thing wiped out my entire track to settings. So then I'm like, whoa, what's going on, right? So as a result, I had to spend that same weekend, and because I didn't insert the mappings correctly, for some reason my BPM was off, right? So I didn't have the visual BPM on the screen, nor did I have it on the CDJ. So essentially, when I was mixing, literally mixing by ear. So which means that as I would shift the pitch, I wouldn't see at what the BPM of the track was. I had no idea, and so it would actually, the speed would move, but I just didn't have any references, right? No visual references at all to align them. So what did this mean? It means that I spent more time now searching for the actual alignment of the music. So what did this do? Now it took away from the time that I normally would be able to now, let's say, mix in between music, set my loops at breakdowns, think 3, 4, 5 tracks in advance. But instead I'm finding myself spending all this time, because I just haven't done it in a while. I've always had the reference that I can see it's 126.5, 126.5, boom. But now I'm sitting here and I'm keeping it aligned, which I spun with CDJs and vinyl, so it wasn't that hard for me to get back into the groove, but still it did take away from what I'm normally able to do, right? So here's where I'm getting at with this, right? When it comes now to technology, there's always a cost. But what cost is it? You see what I'm saying? The question is, what cost does technology have, or the negative aspects, the negative impacts on today's culture shift when it comes to equipment, right? Think of your job, right? Everything is now automatic. You can use in order to send mail, fax machines, computers. Everything is just digital, and everything provides more efficient ways to operate, right? I just moved from Florida, okay, coming down to the DC area, right? I used to drive to work. Everywhere I wanted to go, I drove, because the transportation isn't as strong when it comes to trains and buses as it is here in DC, right? So here I actually have to take one train and one bus to work, because the commute when you drive is too much traffic, can't find parking. So I'm using the trains and the buses. But what happens as a result of that? I find myself having to look for times, look for alternative routes. So now this is stimulating my capacity now. I'm finding that I'm more exposed to different types of people. I'm seeing different styles, different elements, and it's all registering subconsciously. I'm more aware of time now. I'm more aware of different of my zones, my mappings, right? But now if I switched over to driving, guess what would happen? I would lose all of that. So there's a cost now to driving versus now getting involved in taking public transportation, because it sort of stimulates the mind and you feel, man, I'm alive. I feel like I'm doing something. So now at what cost now does the sync and all this technology making things easier, okay, how does it now disrupt DJing? When now, because I've spoken to a lot of DJs and the guys that I actually coach, when they use sync, when they use all these different things, there's this lack of patience, this need to constantly go from one track to this track, because of YouTube. Everyone's like, oh, he's not doing anything. So all this pressure to constantly be busy and not actually playing the music, right? So what happens now? You lose connection with the music itself, because now you're going from track to track to track to track, you know, all these different musics. You're not letting the music play out. So the ability now subconsciously to register the music, understand pattern, understand design, sonically, to be able to now match with other music and properly ingrain that, and also into the minds of the clubbers, so that they can constantly be hit with the music. You see what I'm saying? And understand different sounds, right? Going from one particular sound and drifting and taking that journey. That's all lost because of this constant, you know, manipulation of the music and the sound. So it's not to say that it's bad. I'm not imposing my particular views, but I'm just saying that the ability now for DJs to really align music, pair music, not only with the music itself, but with the crowd, the demographic, and the texture of the place. For example, being able to play an indoor venue, different sound, playing at the beach, different sound, playing indoor, main hour, different sound, versus opening set, versus after hours indoors, versus the terrace set at 5 a.m. All different sounds, different textures, and you need to be able to align the music as well. And a lot of that is missing because it's just everything coming into place. So that's the cost of having all of this technology and virtual instruments, you know, in order to provide a DJ showcase. I highly suggest that DJs go back to the basics of just using CDJs at home to practice, so that it allows you to really ingrain yourself, or to not ingrain, but to really sort of engage with the music, you know, subconsciously, and learn music and how it's paired together sonically and also with the venue. Alright? So Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV. Hey, you do what you gotta do. Sync, you wanna sync, you wanna do, but I'm just saying that same thing with technology, same thing with me driving or taking the public transportation. There's always costs, you always lose something, right? But you do what you want to do. You know, it's your career. But just wanted to just go over that so we can have a better understanding of this culture shift and how it's affecting our DJs and our youth. Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV. We out.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Fucking thing sucks.